Hello, everyone. I'm going to present you MobiTwin, like Julie said. MobiTwin is a service from Mpact, and Mpact is a Belgian non-profit organization that wants to help people in doing more with less. First, I want to start off with talking about a project we're currently in. It's an Interact project called SMALL, which stands for Shared Mobility for All. And together with 11 other partners, we are looking in how we can make shared mobility accessible for more people, specifically focusing on children and families, the elderly, and people with a physical impairment. And I think that shows in a good way what our vision is at Mpact, which is how we move is important, but being able to move is even more important. And on this slide, you can see two pyramids. The first one is the mobility pyramid, which shows different mobility options ranked from most sustainable to least. And the other pyramid is happiness pyramid, and it shows which things you need to be happy, and that is autonomy, feeling good, and a sense of belonging. And being able to move helps with achieving these things. And that's why we try to focus on areas where a lot of commercial players don't go, for example, rural areas, because we think that being able to move should not depend on where you live. Today, I want to introduce MobiTwin to you. MobiTwin is our social transport service, and this helps people to get to their destinations. And we do that through volunteers and through local MobiTwin desks. We are active in Belgium in more than 200 municipalities. And I had a look at where those municipalities are located. And if I use a definition from the Vlaamse Landmaatschappij, which divides the regions into rural municipalities, central cities, and urbanized municipalities, you can see in the percentage column that we are active in all these regions. And specifically for the rural municipalities, we have MobiTwin desks in 76% of them. So that's quite a good number, we think. And with our MobiTwin desks, we can help about 40,000 people a year. We do this with 3,000 voluntary drivers, and that brings us to 500,000 journeys per year. So who can use MobiTwin? We have some requirements because people need to be a MobiTwin member, and they can do this on a yearly or a half-yearly basis. Our first requirement is a financial requirement. So the service is for people who earn maximum 2 times the living wage. And the other requirement is one of reduced mobility. This can be because there's little to no public transport in your area, because you're not able to use a car or public transport because of health issues, or you have temporary mobility problems. And sometimes a MobiTwin desk can have some extra local requirements as well. And these MobiTwin desks are very important partners for us. They are our local partner. Usually it's a municipality, for example, the social department or a non-profit organization, and they are in charge of recruiting members, volunteers. They do the dispatching of the trips, and they take care of the well-being of their members and volunteers. We as Mpact, who's the umbrella organization, we offer them dispatching and calendar software. We take care of the insurances. We start up new desks. We give trainings to coordinators and volunteers. And on a bigger scale level, we raise awareness and we lobby for the things that are important to run this service. And then maybe our most important people are the volunteers. Our volunteers decide themselves how many trips they want to do and which kind of trips they want to do. They pick up the member at their home, and this is usually done with their private car. And we have some volunteers that use a shared car. And then it's usually the volunteer that lives closest to the member that does the trip. So how does a MobiTwin trip work? The member needs to make a trip demand. This has to be done at least 2 or 3 days beforehand, and the member gives time and destination. Then the MobiTwin desk goes and finds a volunteer. The volunteer picks up the member at home, brings them to their destination, and usually also back home, which means that there could be a waiting period. If the waiting period is not too long, the volunteer stays at the destination If the waiting period is too long, the volunteer can go back home. But in the end, it's always the decision of the volunteer if they want to wait or if they want to go home. And then at the end of the trip, the member pays to the volunteer. So let's have a look at the financial side. We are working with people who don't have a lot of financial means, so we do our best to keep the costs as low as possible. So a member needs to pay membership. This goes to their MobiTwin desk, and that's on a yearly or a half-yearly basis. And then they also pay a kilometer fee and sometimes a waiting fee to the volunteer. This kilometer fee, the maximum, is decided by the Belgian government, and for this moment, it's 0.4265 cents, and this goes to the volunteer. And then I'm almost done. I want to put the spotlight on which kind of trips we are doing. We are actually open to all kinds of trips. So we see that there's people using it for medical trips, for social trips, to get groceries, to go to the hairdressers, for administrative trips like going to the town hall. But sometimes MobiTwin desks make local decisions on which trips they accept or not, because maybe they don't have enough volunteers, or maybe there's other initiatives in their municipality. But at the end, it's important that we're not there for emergencies. If there's an emergency, they should call emergency services. And to end, I want to show the two pyramids again, because we as Mpact are striving for the right to mobility to be integrated into the Belgian constitution. We want it to be integrated in Article 23, which is the right to a dignified life. Because we think that being able to move should not depend on if you live in a rural area or not. And I'm happy to tell you that the current government accepted our suggestions. So now the next government just needs to vote in favor for it. And then we will have the right to mobility in the Belgian constitution. My name is Isaura Lips, and if you have any questions that we cannot talk about during this group, you can contact me through these contact details. Thank you very much.